As you know, our community and our whole nation is really in the midst of an opioid epidemic. There are patients that we see on a regular basis, either in the ER, hoping to refill opioids and try to get continue opioids, sometimes for their chronic pain, but oftentimes too because they've developed a dependency. And it's a disease that affects everyone in the ER, from we have elderly patients down to teenagers that are all addicted to opioids. Most of the time, the patients that come in by ambulance have already been treated with the reversal agent. Our EMS, paramedic community, and police are all very aware of this crisis, and it's extremely rare that they haven't already treated the patient appropriately for the overdose with Narcan. Probably the most stressful ones are patients that are dropped off by friends, and they sometimes stay and sometimes don't. And so we don't have any information, and they are brought back to a room immediately, and they're not breathing. Sometimes they don't even have a pulse. And so we see them immediately and give them the reversal agent. And fortunately, we're able to get a lot of folks back. But that's obviously that's what we do as emergency physicians in terms of resuscitating someone that's in our cardiac arrest and respiratory arrest. Any given shift week, sometimes you might not have any, but sometimes you could have 2 or 3 in an evening. And really, just as another point too, because it is a disease, it's not recreational misuse. You'll see them Wednesday at 8 a.m. sometimes. It's not, it's all hours of the day that we're seeing opioid overdoses. So Safe Communities approached SSM Health, St. Mary's, looking to partner with one of the local emergency departments. They had a grant to set up the Recovery Coach program, and we were excited by the opportunity. Obviously, this is something that we see, as I mentioned, on a regular basis, and to be able to do something about it was a great opportunity.
The ED to Recovery program, I think, has helped reduce recidivism for hospital visits in the Dane County area. Our partners have been amazing. SSM has been wonderful in this, and they really, I think, have implemented in part of their policy and procedure to call us if a person agrees to have a coach come see them. And so having an 89.7% success rate in getting people into treatment, I think it reduces that recidivism. It saves lives, as well as the relationship with the coach kind of helps give these people that support that they need.
So we call the recovery coach and let her know what the story is, and to come in and see the patient. And they come in, and we let the patient know that there's a recovery coach here to visit with them if that's possible. And almost all are willing to do that, and they then take the time to counsel them and move through the program.
So the relationship I have with someone in the ER is, they're in a very vulnerable state, so they're overwhelmed. They got nurses, doctors coming in, people taking their blood, there's just a lot going on. The cops are there a lot. So I just introduce myself, sort of tell them a little bit about my story, if they're open to it, just to sort of, put us on the same playing field. And then usually I'll meet up with them a day or two after, and we'll sort of brainstorm sort of where they're trying to go with their goals or whatever they're needing assistance with.
First they want to know, do you even know what I'm feeling, what I feel? And then I can, just like I gave you my little history of how I ended up where I ended up, I share a little with them. And then I let them know, not only was I, not only at one time was I using, like we call in California, tecato, a heroin addict, drug addict, I was also at one time incarcerated, so, and then once I hit that note with him, the guy was just, just open up, and and he says, and they realize that, that I'm genuinely there because I care.
So the coaches primary goal during that time is to support them throughout that wait to get into treatment, and then be there for them throughout that process if they want them to be.
And it depends what my relationship is like, depending on how much support, like peer support, they need going forward. I have people that have reached out to me for upwards of a year after, and then I have people who get more, acclimated to recovery or their recovery path, and they don't need as much peer support from me. So it sort of varies with what they're looking for. But if they're still wanting support, I'll support them for as long as it takes.
They form a continued relationship with the patient, somewhat analogous to an AA sponsor, where their connection doesn't end when they leave the emergency department. They have a separate cell phone that their patients can call them on, and they continue to check in. They continue to make sure that they're getting the help that they need and that they're following up and able to get into the programs that are available to them. And really, I think that's probably the biggest key to why they've been successful and so successful in having patients actually go from the ED to the program.
By you opening up ED to recovery, where a person can OD and then be admitted to the hospital and then they come through, there's someone there to help you, to see what kind of help you need, if you want help, willing to take you to treatment, to detox, to guide you. That's a big step. That's a big step on getting the return. People want that and looking for that. Many times in my addiction, I wanted someone to be there.
So I always like to let people know I'm here today because I love you, I love you. And the reason and way I can demonstrate to you that I love you is because I'm giving you my time, my time. And so because a lot of times, people when they don't know you, there's no attachment there, there's no connection.
Our connection rate of patients that have been seen in the ER and ultimately show up and participate in an outpatient program is close to 90%, which is phenomenal. When we were first looking at setting up the program, I would have been hopeful if we had 20, 30, 40% of our patients that actually go from the ED to one of these programs.